Welcome to another edition of Winners Get Money, Season 2, Episode number 11. That's right, Episode number 11. I'm James Myers. We got David Rahano. Say what's up, David.
What's up, everyone?
Yeah, let's get into it. You know us, you know the drill. Winners Get Money, Sports Cappers, trying to give you guys some locks for this weekend's in college and pro football. Let's jump into it. We had week 12 of college, and then we had week 11 of NFL last week. Let's go. Quick recap. What we'll go over, quick breakdown if you're new to it. We're going to go over what we learned from week 12 of college football, week 11 of NFL. We'll recap our best bets from both sides last week, and then we'll give you our best bets for these upcoming games. And then if we have time, we'll talk Survivor, other stuff that maybe stood out as well. Let's jump into it. We had week 12 college football. We had Oregon getting a huge scare at Wisconsin in Madison. BYU, are they frauds officially losing to Kansas? And then Georgia beats Tennessee by 2 touchdowns. I believe it's 31-17. Let's start with Oregon gets that big scare. What your takeaway from that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of handicapped that game just as we expected. We kind of you hit the nail on it for sure. Oregon at this point in the season, they just want to win. They don't really care to win by margin. It's not like how it used to be, in prior seasons with the new football playoff. But yeah, Wisconsin's a tough place to play, and Oregon for sure had that scare. I mean, they were down late third quarter still before
Yeah.
they scored, and they they kicked that field goal by 3, and then with the game they gave Wisconsin a couple chances to tie that game late. Ultimately Oregon prevailed, but yeah, I mean, pretty entertaining game for sure.
Yeah, that's why I was like big on the trap. I felt it. It was one of my plays this past weekend. I just had a feeling that Wisconsin was gonna give them everything. Oregon's never played in a place like Wisconsin. Yeah, Wisconsin's a tricky place to play. It's not easy just to go in there and win. They will give you games. Let's move on. We talked about that. Let's go BYU. You were on this game. Nice win for you. Kansas defeats BYU at BYU 17-14. Your takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, finally I'm on the right side of BYU. I think I've been fading them all season just
Yeah.
because I was like, no, they're gonna lose eventually, but yeah, this game just kind of came out to just Kansas being just, I think, just undervalued in the market. The public kept looking at Kansas's record and like, oh, this team's not good. There's no way BYU is going to lose to them. But BYU, aside from a couple of those miracle comebacks like throughout the season, they just not that undefeated team everyone thought they were. So, um, yeah, I mean, they finally caught up to them, and we'll see if they can kind of keep it going. But yeah, I mean, that's a good one for Kansas going to Provo night game. So good for them.
Yeah, I mean, they were, like you said, they were flirting all year and definitely in multiple games. BYU just escaped and escaped. They had Utah they escaped against. They had Oklahoma State they escaped against. Look how bad Oklahoma State is now. So it's kind of showing. We also like their game this week. They play Arizona State. That's a preview, guys. And then we had Georgia beating Tennessee. I'll be honest with you guys, I did not see a lot of this game. I remember he was questionable. Did that freshman QB play for Tennessee? Did he end up
He did,
playing? Okay. It
yeah.
was 31-17. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, same as you. I didn't watch too much of the game at all. I was kind of just, scoreboard checking, but it ended up being, I guess, like a playoff game before a playoff game with pretty much an
Big for the
eliminator.
SEC.
Yeah,
Definitely.
big for the SEC eliminator. I mean, now it's like Tennessee, their path is almost non-existent, I would say, at this point
They
with
got to win
everyone
out,
else.
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to win out, get a lot of help. So
Mm.
they don't control their own destiny at all. And, on Georgia's side, it's just Georgia's kind of getting back to business, after that, no show against was Ole Miss the week before.
Yeah, we were on
So yeah.
that. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, we kind of expect them to come back. I wanted no part of the game last week, but yeah, Georgia kind of stays alive. In the SEC and the football playoff. So
You mentioned the football playoff. You got the top 12 in front of you, the new rankings. You want to read
yeah,
them
I
off
have it
real
right here.
quick? Let's do it.
Yeah. So a couple of changes from last week. I guess starting from the top, BYU right now they have the 12. They be playing Ohio State at the 5. Then you got 8-9 is Bama Notre Dame. Pretty good matchup.
Yeah, I like that.
Then 9-5 or actually 10-7. I'm sorry, would be Ole Miss, Indiana, depending on
Ooh,
Indiana's results.
okay,
That'd be a pretty
yeah.
good game. And then the 11-6 is Georgia, Penn State. With everyone just keeps hating on Penn State, saying they haven't played a new one, and
Oh,
here they are,
yeah.
number four
I can't
in
stand
the
them.
overall. Number four the
Yeah.
overall rankings, number six here. And then the 1, 2, 3, 4 is Oregon number one, to Texas two, Miami three, and then Boise State number four.
Wait, where's Ohio State? Are
Five.
they?
They had BYU. So 12
Oh,
5. Yeah.
oh, is it because they have a loss, or is it just
Yeah. So it's, I think I want to say, yeah, they have a loss. And it is, why are they
wow?
number five? They're number two overall in the rankings, but five on the football
It has to
playoff.
be some of the conferences. Has
It
to
has
be.
to be. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry about that, folks. I was making it tricky on David. I
Yeah. I
wasn't
mean,
trying to do that. Yeah.
I could probably tell you right now if we keep going. Yeah. Just give me your thoughts on the playoff. What do we think?
I mean, yeah, Oregon, like we mentioned, just I think they're just going to try and get through every game they can now. They're not worried about margin of victory anymore. Ohio State, I still believe, is my favorite. I still think they're the best team. I mean, I love SMU. It's sad that they're left out. We'll see a lot. We're going to learn a lot this weekend from Indiana, Ohio State. Indiana's going to go to Ohio State. Stay tuned. We also have a play on that game. We think, it's going to determine a lot how Indiana plays there. Penn State, obviously, to me, is frauds. I've been saying this, I think, the whole year. I've never been a fan. They don't have the offense that where I think, oh, they can go and beat an Ohio State or they can go and beat an Oregon or even a Georgia. I think Georgia would get them. Bama would get them. Bama again. Sorry about that. I was telling my buddy, Bama has the same record as Tennessee. Just real quick though, I know Tennessee lost. Don't get me wrong to Georgia. Bama has the same record as Tennessee. Tennessee beat them head to head, and Bama's ahead of them. I'm just letting you know. I know you Bama lovers out there. I get it, but just that playoff a little sketchy with that. I don't know about that. If Tennessee beat like they won the head to head, I don't understand how they're ahead of them.
Yeah.
But I guess is it because like Bama beat Georgia and Georgia beat Tennessee? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I
So
guess there's a quick little like note right here on this the NCAA site. It just says Bama 7 seed at large pick, second team from SEC.
okay.
And then I mean that's pretty much all the little note it gives.
Yeah.
So maybe for whatever reason that's why
Oh,
they rank what they rank. And
dude.
then to answer your Ohio State question, at large pick, second team from the Big Ten, because Oregon's leading it.
Oh,
That's it.
duh.
That's the thing. The football playoff,
Yeah, the
I mean,
conference realignment. Oh, my bad. Duh, that's God. People listening, are like, what a clown. My
yeah,
bad,
but I mean, it's
guys. And
just the
that,
first year of it, the
yeah,
first
for
year we're
sure.
still, going through
Duh.
learning
Oh, that
and
makes so much sense now. Duh, that's terrible. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. That was a good recap on top 12. Again, we'll learn a lot this weekend, I think. SEC is going to be just insane at the end, the committee. How many teams they're going to put through, and it's all going to be people are going to be unhappy, happy. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, save some time. Let's recap our best bets for college football real quick. I'll start us off. I went 2-1, had Arizona State +8, easy winner. They destroyed Kansas State. That wasn't even, I think they jumped up to a 28-0 lead, 24-0 lead. Wisconsin, I had Wisconsin +14. That wasn't even a sweat either. Lost 16-13 to Oregon. We already broke that down. Yada yada. And then I lost on Cincinnati +9. I did lose that one. They played Iowa State at Iowa State. They had a chance in the fourth. They were down 10. Couldn't score, turned it over, and then Iowa State busted a long touchdown, losing that one. Your recap for college.
yeah, 2-1 as well. Kansas, kind of mentioned earlier. Colorado, they just continue to roll. Nice win
Mm-hmm.
there. It was a pretty close game, and then they kind of pulled away late. And then South Carolina lost. I just kept riding that train, and Mizzou gave them a little bit of trouble. So yeah, I lost that one. 2-1 overall, 15-14 though. Just looking to kind of keep separated from that 500.
Yeah. I'm 17-10. I forgot to mention my record. But South Carolina, yeah, I was very surprised they won the game. It didn't, because what was the spread? It was like 10, 11. Missouri
Yeah,
really,
it was 11 and a half. Got up to like 13, almost two touchdowns. So
yeah, Missouri really gave them a game. I was surprised at South Carolina because Missouri has not looked like a team, if you will, throughout the season. Anyway, We're on to week 13, best bets. Week 13, NCAA. Let's get into it. Do you want to start or do you want me to
All
start?
right, you can start.
Okay. I'm riding with the Sun Devils again, guys. This is BYU. This is a fade against BYU, and this is a good Arizona State team. This isn't a bad Arizona State team. This is a good Arizona State team. I think they're only laying 3 at home. We're taking Arizona State -3 versus BYU. You saw them last week. I mean, I don't need to hit a bunch of points. I just like the way this team's playing. They're hot right now. They did not have a look ahead spot in Kansas State. I think they're very well coached too. This coach, young guy. I talked about him. The whole kicker thing when he asked for a kicker. This guy just doesn't care. It's his identity, his team. They're laying 3 at home. I think it's a night game, big game for Arizona State. I think you mentioned before we jumped on here, Arizona State actually controls their own destiny in the Big 12. Is that correct? If they went out,
Yeah.
that's incredible. I mean, no one would have picked that. Nobody. So if they win this game, they're good to keep going and moving on in the Big 12. It could be them in Colorado, maybe. We'll see, unless the schedules work out. I haven't looked ahead that far. But we are going with the Sun Devils -3 versus BYU. Your thoughts?
Oh yeah, this is one of my plays as well. Arizona State -3. We
I
kind of
forgot.
talked
Sorry,
about.
dude. My bad. Dang it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we kind of said it with BYU. We're like, if Kansas doesn't get them, Arizona State's going to get them. So I mean, I've had this circle since last week, ready to to bet it. So, yeah, like pretty much all the the reasons you said. There's Arizona State's well coached, playing good ball. Like this is a team that surprised a lot of people, and I think a lot of the public's gonna just keep writing BYU. It's like, oh, they lost last week, but they'll keep it going for their playoff chances. I just don't think they're that good, you know. And Arizona State, like you mentioned, they control their own destiny right now. They're tied for second in the conference because BYU 6-1. Arizona State wins, jumps them just like that, 6-2, 6-2. Colorado, they have a tough game this week. You really know what's gonna happen with them. They're sitting at 6-1, and then you have Iowa State 5-2. But I don't think Iowa State will be in the picture in the next couple of weeks. So
That's a good one.
yeah, overall, good opportunity for Arizona State, just to kind of keep the momentum running. And yeah, I think they cover the 3 here at home.
Yeah, I like that. Next game. We're both on this one. I'm not going to mess this one up. We are both on this game as well. We got a lot of similar picks this week. We're both on Illinois -1.5 at Rutgers. We like the spot here. We talked about it. I mentioned it last week before. It was almost one of my plays. Illinois played Michigan State last week, killed them. I couldn't believe the spread. I thought, why is it so low? And they ended up winning by like 10, 15 points, I think. And this week, and now they're only laying 1.5 at Rutgers. I just think this Illinois team it's too well coached. Yeah, maybe my homer for Brent Bielema. I think he's a really good coach. This quarterback's solid. Altmaier, the senior. Rutgers has done nothing really impressive. They had one win at home against Washington. I remember a few weeks, about a month ago, but Washington's nothing special. I don't, I don't see why Rutgers. I mean, this line's showing it's almost a pick 'em, but I just can't see Rutgers pulling this out. I like Illinois here. Well coached. Their defense is very good. I don't see why Rutgers would be able to move the ball on these guys that much. Your thoughts?
Yeah, like you mentioned, is one of my plays too. Um, yeah, this Rutgers team. I mean, the line does seem a little bit trappy, because you would think like Illinois probably should be maybe closer to a 3-point favorite. No, there's no real home field advantage, for Rutgers. The only thing I think that we might have to check would be the weather. Maybe just like a
Okay.
nasty game. But even then, Illinois, they run the ball well. They have like multiple running backs to use. The ground and pound. Even if there was some sort of like, weather, we should probably check that to be honest. But this Illinois team, they beaten some decent teams. Yeah, that Michigan game you can probably throw out now just because it's a down year for Michigan, but it doesn't kind of shy away from Illinois as a program. Like playing, a lot better this year, beating some marquee names, whether they're good or not, or having a down year or not. But um, yeah, they trying to look at the schedule here. I do remember that one game against Washington. It was like a Friday night
Mhm.
game. Yeah, so I mean they can play these better teams for sure, and kind of hang with them. And um, I think I just said Rutgers can hang with them, but I mean Illinois can hang with them.
Yeah. I
And
got weather report. So
okay,
this
here you
was
go.
yesterday. It said should be partly cloudy skies with only a 6% chance of rain and 54 degrees. So nothing crazy. At least that's what I got, unless you have a different one.
No, yeah, nothing on my end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean Illinois. The thing too is, they played Penn State, kept them close. Oregon did get them, but that was a week after they beat Michigan, so maybe a little bit of a misleading, not misleading score, but you probably could think they had a little bit better effort. And then Minnesota just keeps they just seem to be beating everyone. I've noticed. So they caught them too, but I just think this Rutgers team just is not. There's not nothing kind of to write home about.
No, no, they're nothing special. I don't think so either. Okay, moving on. Let's go. My last play. I'm going with a rivalry game. We're going UCLA plus 4.5 against USC up at the Rose Bowl. Home game for UCLA. They're getting 4.5. I like the play here. No Miller Moss. They benched him last week against Nebraska. Yeah, the backup looked pretty good. Threw a few touchdowns and had a couple picks. I like it because UCLA, they've been playing really good ball these past couple months now. Garbers looks a lot more comfortable, the quarterback. Yeah, they lost last week, but they lost at Washington. I don't think it's an overreaction. Washington's undefeated at home this year. So it's not a bad loss. They lost by 10, I believe. And this is a rivalry game. I think anything more than a field goal, you take the underdog here. I think UCLA actually ends up winning this game outright. Deshaun Foster, the coach for UCLA, he's got them playing great. Lincoln Riley, I mean, do you have that much faith in him right now? No, I just don't right now. This is classic Lincoln Riley USC where they lose this game. Just they finally win a game, they get the monkey off their back, if you will, and then they have a letdown spot here. Backup quarterback who's never been in a rivalry game like this as well. I think this game means a lot more to Garbers too. Senior quarterback, the backup for USC is a sophomore. I think this game means a lot more to Garbers here. I think he wants it. They're going to want it more. UCLA is going to show that. I think they have a lot more upperclassmen on their team as well. So this is rivalry game. I'm taking the home dog here more than a more than a field goal. We're going to UCLA. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I certainly lean that way as well. Yeah, like you said, rivalry game. I just feel like it's gonna be tight.
Yeah.
The thing too is, I mean, I guess if you want to look into it, even though it's a crosstown rivalry, the SC hasn't won a road game all year. They're 0-4 on the road. I mean, granted, they go to the Rose Bowl, 13 miles apart from their campus
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's gonna be a close game. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of fans from both teams there, but I mean, just 0-4 on the road, it just seems like this SC team can't really like find a groove. A lot better at home. UCLA is only 1-3 at the Rose Bowl this year, so I mean, kind of take that as you will, but I think just teams kind of going in opposite directions. SC high expectations. You mentioned Lincoln Riley. Like people. I mean, I guess you can see people are trying to get fed up with him. Yeah,
Oh,
the quarterback change.
I've seen people calling for his job. I
Yeah,
have. People are calling for him. Yeah.
yeah. It just seems like one of those teams going in different directions. SC's going down, and I think UCLA's been playing good the last couple weeks. I think they were like beginning of the season the first team to go like 0-3 or 0-4 to start conference play in the Big Ten. But since then they've been playing well, beating some good teams. Garbage been playing well, so I would even sprinkle the money line here. But 4.5, I think for sure is a good bet.
I also saw real quick on this game. I saw a tweet from this guy. He said that Deshaun Foster said that there's 100 high school recruits going to be at this game. So California. So it's a big game. You want to impress and be like, guys, if they're leaning either UCLA or USC and they see who wins, maybe that's how they decide which school to go to. So big game with that from a recruiting perspective for next year. All right, your last play, Dave.
Yeah. The last play here, big game hunting. We seem to be doing it every week, but big game this weekend between Ohio State and Indiana.
Yeah.
I got Ohio State minus 13.5. I think just anywhere around the two touchdown marks. I think they're just the better team overall. Indiana, great story, great story just with the whole NIL, like now you're starting to see all these teams that maybe, don't have a history of being a good football program, being contenders now. And that's kind of what you have here with Indiana. I just don't think it's enough yet. Ohio State, they're at home at the Horseshoe, uh, with a big noon kickoff too. So Ohio State, this is just what they do. I think the stars might be just too bright for Indiana. Um, a lot of people are pulling for them. I certainly am pulling for them too, but I just think
Yeah.
here it's Ohio State. It's Ohio State or nothing on my side. I just think they can, win by 14, 21 points here, and like you said, they're one of your favorites to win the whole thing, and This is, I guess you can say, a statement game for them, just to kind of keep it rolling. They've already played, at Oregon, tough loss. They took care of business against Penn State. On Indiana side, who have they beat?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Indiana's fault scheduling wise because it's the way like the conferences are aligned. They didn't have Penn State this year. There's a couple other games, a couple other teams that they didn't have on their schedule this year that they
Mhm.
probably did in prior years, and this is their biggest game. But I just don't think it's. I think Ohio State's just gonna take care of business.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm off it, but I'd be more confident in Ohio State here laying the 13 and a half at home. I just think Ohio State, like I mentioned, they're my favorite to win it all. I think they're a legit team, just both sides of the ball. I think this is a step up for Indiana. Like you said, their weak schedule. They're playing with the big boys now. This is a big boy game. You're gonna go against five-star athletes everywhere. I don't yeah, Indiana they may get rolled in this game by 21, 28 points. Who knows though? Everyone's counting them out in this game, but I just can't see Ohio State laying an egg here. I think Ryan Day will have them ready. The offense with Chip Kelly looks good. You know, Will Howard's playing good ball right now. He's looked great as their quarterback this year. I have to admit, he's played really good, and it's part of the reason why I like Ohio State to win it all as well. Judkins looks great. I I just don't see Indiana being able to go up and down the field against this elite Ohio State defense. Ohio State's going to be ready. I think Ohio State will be able to move the ball with Will. And yeah, I think they cover the 13 and a half as well here in a big game for both teams. I think Ohio State needs this game as well. I forgot to mention Ohio State needs this game as well to just keep pace and within distance for that Big Ten championship, right? If it
Yeah,
lines up, if Ohio State wins out and Oregon wins out, do they meet again in the Big Ten championship? Is that how that works?
I want to say it's how it works. I mean, I had to apply the double checks to be four. Now there's no like, like there used to be like the conferences, and it's like, oh, you have like
Uh-huh.
Northwest or whatever it might be. I want to say it's all just together, and you take the
Okay.
two best teams, they play each other. I'll figure that out for next week because we are getting closer to that, conference championship week, and we'll have all that, information, down. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Ohio State, second team for the Big Ten, at large pick. They want to keep pace, with seeding. So, um, yeah, I mean, should be a good, entertaining game. But I think, yeah, Ohio State should pull away here.
Yeah. I mean, Ohio State, if they meet Oregon and they beat them in the Big Ten championship, they could possibly jump them.
Yeah,
Needs to be at a neutral site. And Ohio State's loss at Oregon wasn't a bad loss. They lost in the last seconds, if people forget. I think they lost by 2 points. They were driving too, and they ran out of time. Anyways, that's our college football this week. Let's jump to the professional football, National Football League. Let's recap our best bets. Start us off, David.
yeah, 2-1 week. I want to say I think it's probably one of the finally, have a winning week in the NFL. Steelers, great win. I'll probably go into that a little bit. We do our overall recap, but Steelers win, Bills win, another one we're probably gonna go over, and then Cowboys. I don't know what I was thinking Monday night.
Hey, I was there
Yeah,
last week. Don't worry.
yeah. So I mean, there's a couple of bonehead plays you'll make in the week, but overall 2-1, happy. So yeah, kind of keep this rolling with the NFL. Overall 10, 12, and 1. Um, looking for a 2-0, 2-0 week to get 500, but yeah, that's my recap.
Okay. I went 2-1 as well. I won on the Browns over 44 and a half with the Saints. It's my fourth over in a row hitting. I'm 4-0 in overs. Bills -2. We said that was a pros versus Joes. And then I lost in Atlanta. Just horrible. Horrible. Just I after the first drive, I told myself, I was like, what was I thinking? I don't know what I was thinking there. Terrible, but Broncos beat the brakes off them. Let's just say the least. Bo Nix looked great. Anyways, I'd go to 14, 11, and 1 overall. Let's recap what we saw out of NFL. Bills knocked off the Chiefs finally. Chiefs get their first loss. You mentioned Pittsburgh. They beat the Ravens with 6 field goals. Chris Boswell, fantasy, outstanding. And then Chargers, I was at this game. We had to throw it in. And it was one of the better games, actually, of the weekend, too. Chargers beat the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. Really good back and forth, entertaining football game. Your thoughts on that Bills Chiefs game, real quick?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it. Pros versus Joes. The Bills, Josh Allen, and I think that's him now. Yeah, I think he's the MVP. He sealed that game on that touchdown run
On fourth down.
and
Yeah.
four down too. Yeah. sealed it. So yeah, I mean, the Bills back? I mean, I guess you can say so. A lot of people were writing them off, saying that they were going to be a playoff team. I think people said it.
I was that guy.
People said it, but yeah, good win for the Bills. But I mean, it's the same thing. Bills can beat the Chiefs in the regular season. It's just what are they? What is Allen 0-3 against Mahomes in the playoffs? So when it
You
really
guys never
matters,
beaten him.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. When it really matters, they can't do it. But I mean, good win for the Bills. I feel like they needed that overall for the morale. So good win on their
Yeah.
part.
I think McDermott needed it too as the coach. Just, I think Bills fans are getting a little, kicking the bucket a little bit on him. Like, hey, we got to start knocking the Chiefs off, or you might be out of here, bud, because we have a franchise. We got an elite quarterback. So, anyway, Pittsburgh beats Baltimore. Pittsburgh wins off 6 field goals. Baltimore just not sharp on offense. Defense did play better. I'll give them that, but just not sharp. Pittsburgh's defense was elite in that second half, I thought. Your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I mean, this is the second time that Pittsburgh has won a game with only field goals. I think the week one they beat Atlanta with 6 field goals too. Yeah, these Pittsburgh Raven games, it doesn't really matter what the records are. These teams, they're going to
No.
play tight.
Take the
Exactly what we
underdog, like
saw.
we said.
Yeah,
Yep.
just take the points no matter what it is. And yeah, Pittsburgh, just like that. Mike Tomlin is in the I want to say he's in the I want to say driver's seat, but he's in the consideration for Coach of the Year again.
Should
You
be.
know,
Should definitely
should
be.
be.
Yeah.
And then I think as long as he wins tomorrow night, he's going to clinch another year of having a winning record. So because
It's
got
crazy,
what
dude.
consecutive. He's
Mr.
just a good coach.
Consistent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they say winners win, and he's just a winning coach no matter what he does.
Yeah.
So good for him. On the Ravens standpoint, I mean, can't really knock. Pittsburgh played good D. They kept Lamar in check. They just had Lamar's number. I want to say the stats. I think it was like Tomlin just pretty much owns Lamar.
Yeah.
So tough game for the Ravens. It doesn't really change my opinion on who they are as a team. I
Yeah.
still think they're the same team. Just overall good game. Good game. And then one team won, one team had to lose. It's just kind of how it was. But yeah, Ravens got Monday Night Football too. So back to back really good games that they have to play against good teams.
Yeah. They play the Chargers next week. Chargers, speaking of Chargers, they won on Sunday Night Football. I was at that game. It was epic. What a game. Chargers up 24-6 at halftime. Bengals tied up at 27 in the fourth. McPherson misses 2 field goals. Back and forth. Herbert had 2 dimes, not just saying because of the game, but 2 dimes. Guys dropped both of them. And then finally, the last drive, he gets the ball back, leads him down to with McConkey twice. And then they win it on like a J.K. Dobbins 15-yard touchdown with like 10 seconds left. It's just a wild game. Again, Burrow, we were talking about it. Burrow's stats are unbelievable this year. MVP level stats easily. Burrow's playing unreal football this year. And they're what, 4-7, I think?
4-7.
And this loss probably knocks them out of the playoffs, honestly. I mean, they have to win out just to even somehow win a tiebreaker and go in at 10-7. That's the best they can finish is 10-7. You have to, like, in this AFC right now, you got to win at least 10 games to make the wild card. So they got to win out, and it's going to be tough because they still got divisional games with Pittsburgh and Baltimore. So, and they struggle with Cleveland. I don't know if they played Cleveland twice. Burrow has a terrible record against Cleveland. So it's going to be a very daunting task for Cincinnati. Anyway, that's a recap for NFL. Let's jump into our best bets. Let's do it. You start us off, Dave.
Yeah. So NFL Week 12. Not a lot I like on the board. I mean, this NFL, like I feel like every time I look at these lines, we just say how disgusting they are. So we're gonna start off. We're gonna go Minnesota -3.5 in Chicago. There's more just a fate of the Bears. They almost came off a nice upset win against Green Bay. I just feel like this week they put all their effort in that rivalry game against the Packers, and this week I think they might come out a little flat. Um, on Minnesota side, they've been playing pretty good football. Darnold kind of regressed a little bit from that kind of Pro Bowl start that he's had. But I just think this game at 3.5 is a little bit more, just fading the Bears and kind of letting Minnesota kind of keep pace with kind of what they've been doing all year, and they just got to keep winning games. So 3.5 just seems a little short here. I can see them winning by a touchdown.
Yeah, I like the play too. I couldn't take Chicago on the spot for sure. I think it's just a backbreaker. What happened last week? blocked field goal against Green Bay. They should have won the game. I just didn't agree. I was watching it, and I was telling the guys with me, why didn't Chicago try and get more yards? They still had a timeout, and they still had 30 seconds. Eberflus goes, now let's knee it or run it up the middle for 1 yard and set it up. Dude, go get more yards. And that blocked field goal might have turned in actually going in. He actually still got a little bit of distance on it. I'm not saying it would have gone in, but still, it's just I don't know. Eberflus has got to be on his way out soon. He has to be. But yeah, total gut punch here. Dream crusher, as you say, dream crusher for them last week. So I like the Vikings as well. Okay, my first play, and you're on this as well. My best play of the week is the Raiders +6 versus Broncos. I'm fading Denver again. Yeah, I got burned last week bad by them. But we're going with Vegas here. I just like the spot divisional game turnaround. I think the Raiders actually showed some juice against Miami last week. I think the offense actually was able to move the ball. Bowers looks good. Raiders and Broncos those are always tight games. They always play each other tight. I think this is a good spot too for Raiders because Denver coming off a blowout win against Atlanta. Bo Nix, rookie quarterback, feeling good. Hey, now it's time for a divisional game where the other team on the other side of the ball knows you a lot. So I think Vegas keeps it within 6. Tight divisional game at Allegiant Stadium. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of my plays as well. Just 6 points seems like a lot in a divisional game between these two teams. There's you have Denver, great win last week at home, traveling to Vegas now. I mean, it just seems like one of those spots that Denver might just be looking ahead of the Raiders, like, oh, we're just gonna go in there, win, no big deal. But I think the Raiders will give them a game, keep it within 6, like you, kind of like how you said. But Bo Nix, maybe he's due for a little bit of a bad game as well, and the Broncos defense, they're good for sure. But yeah, I just kind of looking for, when you look at the Broncos trying to fight for the wild card spot, is it one of those things that you just want to go and get a win and leave Vegas? So
Yeah.
yeah, if it was 3, I mean, I'll probably be off this game, but the fact that we're getting 6 points here, the Raiders, they've kept a lot of these games close, really competitive. So we'll kind of, continue to see that going. I mean, they played the Chiefs pretty tough a couple weeks
Yeah, I was
back.
on that
So
game. I had them in Vegas. They kept that within a touchdown. That
yeah,
was yeah. So
yeah. So I mean, yeah, I can see it for sure.
okay. Your next play.
Yeah, next play. I mean, it's just the public darling that everyone seems to like. Detroit -7.5 at Indianapolis. Like I said this week, not a lot of games that I really liked. So we're going, a couple favorites here, a big favorite here. The Lions they just cover. Like I got burned on them a couple weeks back. I think I took Tennessee and they just blew them up by like 25, 30 points, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And you'll probably mention the stat too, but Dan Campbell just wins. He wins and he covers that margin. Um, so yeah, Detroit here 7.5. Richardson, played a pretty good game last week against the Jets. But it's the Jets. Not looking not looking too much into that performance that he had. But I think that Richardson's going to come back to being the same Richardson, and Detroit just is going to blow this game out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, literally, Dan Campbell had a tune-up game last week against Jacksonville. That was disgusting. 52-6 final. I mean, they boat raced them. I mean, that was a warm-up game. Middle of the season in the NFL. You just don't see it. You just don't, man. It's crazy to me. So they're insane. Campbell's 43-17 against the spread since he's been there. It's incredible. And the next team isn't even close. I think it's the Bengals since 2021, which is when Campbell, I think, took over. Bengals are the second closest. So it's pretty wild. Lions are just a wagon. I would never bet against that team. Their offense just looks unbelievable. Anyway, yeah, Detroit 7.5 for David. We're short a little time, so I'm gonna move this along. I'm on the Rams +3, Eagles Sunday Night Football. We're going with the dog here in LA. Another Sunday Night Football game in LA. I just like the spot here for LA. They came off a win against New England, tough, gritty win. Eagles. Oh my gosh, I'm tripping. Who did the Eagles have last week? Or were they in a bye?
Was I'll look up for you right now.
Oh my gosh.
Give me one
Sorry,
sec.
guys. Brain fart. But we're going Rams +3 here. I think they actually end up winning this game outright. I think the offense is finally clicking. Stafford looked really good last week and Kupp and Nakua. Man, those two back, it makes all the difference with those two guys. And I think these rookie corners are going to get a little taste with Cup and Nakua. I think these rookie corners for Philly, they've been playing good ball, but I think they're going to get a little taste. And I think the Rams defense is very underrated. I do. I think they may keep Jalen Hurts in check. Hurts did not look that good. Oh, they played the Commander on Thursday night. That's why I couldn't remember. Hurts kind of looked a little shaky last week. He didn't have his great game. So is this the Jalen Hurts where, maybe we don't get the greatest performance? Because if you don't get your great performance against the Rams from Hurts, Rams are going to beat them. McVay's too good of a coach. I like the coaching discrepancy as well. I'll take McVay all day over Sirianni. So we're going Rams +3. Yeah. Your thoughts real quick.
Yeah, I lean that way too. Yeah, I don't really have much on this game. The Rams, they're fighting for the division, at this point, probably the division because you're not going to be able to get that wild card spot.
Yeah.
So this game, means a little bit more to them. The Eagles, they're gotten healthier. They're pretty good these last couple of weeks, but I just think this is one of those games where the Rams need it more, want it more. We saw it 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Football. Dolphins, Rams. Dolphins wanted it more, and they came out and they beat this Rams team. So now I think it's a flip. You flip the script a little bit, and they keep it within 3.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good point there too. Eagles pretty much they're kind of running with division now after owning the tiebreaker over the Commanders. So we'll see. And then my last play, because David's plays are done. We're going for 5-0 and overs. We're taking Tampa Bay, New York Giants over 41.5. Tampa Bay off a bye. Their offenses still look good even without Godwin and Evans. Tommy DeVito for the Giants. I think he's going to bring a little juice. No Daniel Jones. He's benched. He's done for the season. Probably gone after this year. So I think the Giants are going to have a little bit more motivation. I think you're going to see a little bit more points. Tampa Bay is very susceptible to giving up points on defense too as well. I like it. I think it's good weather. I don't see why these teams can't go up and down the field. I think Tampa Bay will be able to score. And the Giants, maybe a couple touchdowns here, 41.5. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Tampa Bay, even with all the injuries they've had, they look good on offense. They can still put up points. You said it, DeVito's the quarterback now. Maybe the Giants play just a little looser, They're like, all right, we're not really playing for much this season, and, DeVito's going to have a chance to kind of just, show what he has. And, yeah, 41.5. This seems like Tampa Bay can maybe, push this over. And if you get like 14, 17 out of DeVito and boom, 41.5, it gets covered. So
I can see 28-17
yeah,
in this game.
2017-ish, 30-17. Yeah. So
also Giants, both teams coming off buys. So I like the game plan for both teams. I think both offenses will be fresh. They'll have good game plans in, especially for DeVito. They're going to have this first couple drives scripted for him, not make it too crazy for him. So, and especially if he gets that crowd into it, starts out solid early, building some confidence, guys will be playing for him. And then again, it's like I always say, even the teams, guys, don't forget, these teams that are at the bottom, these are pros and they're still playing for jobs. Coaches are still coaching for jobs. You got to remember that. Contracts next year. So just keep that in mind as well. And then my survivor is going to be Kansas City. I was on Miami last week. Anything else? We got less than a minute. Talk to me.
Yeah, Survivor getting down under 100.
No, it's like 110. Only like 5 people got knocked out. It sucked. Yeah.
But yeah, choose your be popular play. For sure. Just all you have to do is win.
Yeah.
Carolina,
yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're laying 10.5 too. Crazy.
What's that other popular Survivor pick this week?
Oh God, I put the lines. Probably Detroit, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably Detroit, right? One of the bigger spreads.
Yeah.
But people might be safe